DDG episode 53, officially over 365 days old, and that's 1 year. Um, my name is Dave Hunt, and as always, I'm joined by Michael Swick.
We should, based on how this week could go, we should just pretend this is like an audio tape that a future protagonist is going to find. And they're going to be like, all the simpler days when they just talked about video games.
So, like a couple people have been asking over like on Discord and social media and stuff like that about like what's the official day, birthday of DDG, and it's technically November 1st. If you look at some of like our metadata, like I think I saw something like our Twitter anniversary was like October 22nd, but that was us like preparing things and making sure that we could get the handles and the social media links. So
yeah, that was procuring social media links and then also seeding podcast servers because we didn't do a trailer. Just because I hate doing trailers.
So that was some of those things that started showing up on my feed and some of my Facebook memories. But the official day that we launched Digital Days Gaming is November 1st, 2019. And obviously we're past November 1st, 2020, which it feels like it went by really, really fast. But at the same time, like this year feels like it's been taking forever.
We're still in March, man. We're still in March.
But anyway, thank you guys so much for all the support over the last year, and all of the whatever you've done to help the show grow, sharing, reviewing, following on all various social media networks. You as a community make us desire to do more and different things every time and to work harder at what we're doing. And if you guys weren't interacting with us, then it would be a little bit more challenging. So however you are able to support, whether it's listening or following or supporting us through Patreons or PayPals or Twitch or whatever you're able to do, that you are appreciated. And we have plans for at least a couple more years for sure. I don't know when it'll be too old to have a video game podcast. Hopefully it won't be, as the world is growing and evolving and adjusting to what podcasting and YouTubes and video game playing and everything like that. Like hopefully there's never going to be like you need to like leave the game.
No, I mean there's still some old gamers hanging around in the industry, so I think we're fine. You're a couple years away from being too old. I got a couple extra years on it, so I can carry you in like 3 years when you're too old to be on here.
Yeah. Sure. But yep, as we mentioned, we are Digital Days Gaming. We are a weekly podcast that releases every Thursday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern time on various podcast networks. If you are able to review or share the show, that is always appreciated. All of our social links are in the show notes, as well as our merchandise store now. For our 1 year anniversary, we do now have merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, and premium hoodies. It's all through Teesprings. And we tried to keep the prices as relatively low as we could, but tried to also give a large variety of colors. Again, Angela did a lot of work on that with making sure the design fit on the shirts, and some of you have already bought shirts, so purchased shirts already, so thank you. And the purple shirt's in there for you, Michael, so she made sure that there's a purple one in
just
there.
Hopefully it like goes with the blue. We'll test that out. I'll be the one to test that.
She wants to get me like the orange one, and I was like, it actually looked really good in the picture, but then I don't know what that would, because the contrast of the colors, it actually looked really cool.
Yeah.
But so we'll have the link to the Teesprings in our show notes, and then as well as it's on social media networks, Twitter, Facebook group, all that stuff. So we're going to jump right into some of the news, and something I know that you like the second story you had talked about before. This one I thought I don't really feel like, I was like, I have a feeling this is going to get delayed again, because I was just worried about it, but at the same time they were so adamant that they weren't going to do it.
Yeah, all right. Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed again. This is like the fourth delay. This one is only a couple weeks, but it was originally expected to launch November 19th, but now it is coming out December 10th. They attribute this delay to bringing it to all these multiple consoles and making sure it works. So the exact quote is, "The biggest challenge for us right now is shipping the game on current gen, next gen, and PC at the same times, which requires us to prepare and test 9 versions of the game." So that is a lot of work. Like a lot of teams are probably going through this right now, to where even if they're not doing like their full PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X version, they still have to make sure it runs on that as of June, I believe, is when Sony made the big announcement that anything past June has to run natively on the PS5, or PS4 games have to run natively on PS5.
Right.
So they're just running into other issues, or all these issues, just trying to make sure that is going to work. And also, this just looks bad on them. It's just because they made a big celebration for going gold, but going gold doesn't mean what it used to mean.
Mm-hmm.
It just means
their day one printed. Patch is going to be huge.
Yeah. So like an extra 3 weeks doesn't sound like a lot of time, but apparently it is enough time for them to at least get this running. Though this brought up a lot of questions that people are like, well, shit, we haven't really seen this game on console too much. So there's a lot of people worried that this is going to be coming in kind of hot, and we're going to find out the hard way how this is going to run.
And I think the people that have been playing the game, like Paris from Gamertag, has had an opportunity to play the game and cover some of the Night City Wire stuff that they've been doing. Obviously, they've been playing the PC build through like remote connections, similar to like some of the stuff that I do that we've done with Ubisoft. And it's almost always the PC build. So like that is definitely a concern for some people. I feel like it'll be very, very interesting from the original release date till it's been pushed to December 10th. We've seen over our years of reviewing and getting early access to games, which I hope that this game does get in the hands of influencers before launch. I hope they are allowed to play this game, and I hope they are allowed to talk about it or at least review it. I want to say I would be more comfortable with a 5 to 7 day embargo window prior to launch. I would start
Witcher 3, I think I had 11 days.
Okay. I would start getting very worried if this is a launch day embargo. I would start to be a little concerned about that. And we will, unfortunately, because it's the internet, we will find out for sure like what was holding this up. It's got to be something in the day one patch, obviously. I know I'm just stating the obvious here when I say this, but it has to be something in the day one patch that is game breaking enough that they felt that they needed a 3 week delay or whatever it is, 21 days. Yeah, 3 weeks. So we will know what this is, and we will know what this is for two reasons. I feel like we will, one is that it'll be the reviewers will have the opportunity to play the game without the patch. So that somebody will leak that, like whatever, they won't leak the whole, review notes or whatever, but they'll leak the part of what they're talking about. Like, cause the one that keeps coming to mind all the time, and I don't know why I go back to this one, but when Josh, when we were with PS Nation and Josh got to review, I want to say it was like Little Big Planet 3. He had like a huge, like 3-page document of what was coming day one that they didn't really want him to knock the game on, because they're like, we know this is a problem and it's being fixed. And so that we'll know that way, or we'll know what's in the patch, because it'll be really curious. Like, this patch might have been able to be ready by November 19th, but it might not have been ready for reviews, and it might be bad enough that they're worried about, even if they explain it to a reviewer, that that the people would downgrade the game for this because they want traffic on their review.
Actually, in this day and age, like that, we see that happen all the time.
Yeah.
Where people just want to have the hottest take that they can on something. So
sadly, somebody's going to give this game a 5.5 or a 6 because they want people to read or watch their review.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They're whatever the quality of the game turns out, there will always be people on both ends of the spectrum that are going to either praise it no matter its flaws or hit it for any single thing that they can find.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get that like wide spectrum. This is going to be one of those games I feel like is going to have the wide spectrum of review scores. We're going to see
I still feel like it's going to settle at like an 8. This is going to be a solid 8, solid 8.5. It sucks though. Like this is in that window. I think I saw this on like the Video Game Awards Twitter or something. This is falling now with this release date. It's following into that no man's land. It's coming out in 2020, but it's not going to be eligible for 2020 awards.
Well, yeah, like just for us, like I was hoping that we would be able to like record our Game of the Year stuff early December.
Yeah.
But now that this is December 10th, like I'm probably, maybe we can push it to that week we record. So I get
but unfortunately, you're only gonna be talking about less than 10 hours of playing the game before we get a chance to talk about our stuff. So yeah, it's super, super interesting. But this game has to come out in 2020, similar to when we talked about the the payroll and the overtime implications for CD Projekt Red, as well as the bonus structure. Like these people, the employees deserve their money for a game that was originally supposed to, I think, come out like holiday 2019. Originally, I think was what they were shooting for.
Thought it was April. I think it was always in April.
Okay. But I mean, for something that we saw, teaser trailers and stuff like that for in what, E3 2015.
Yeah, and the game's been known development since like 2013.
Yeah.
So
however long it takes. I mean, there's a lot of stuff about this game that interests me tremendously, but then it seems like every time I get a chance to check this out, something goes wrong. Like when I was at the E3 presentation with you, we both got to go to it. I was super distracted because there was something wrong with like one of our podcasts or something like that. Like, and I was trying to fix that, and the next thing I knew, like the presentation was over. I'm like, damn it. Like,
yeah, I'm having the problem with this game where the more I see it, the less excited I get. Just because something about the gameplay is just not clicking for me, and I'm super excited for this game still. So I just want to play this damn game. Like already.
Yeah, there's a valid concern though. It was like, can CD Projekt Red make a great FPS, first person shooter?
Yeah,
and like that's a huge unknown factor. Can they make a great RPG? Yes. Can they tell a great story? Yeah. Can they build a great world? 100%. Can they do it from a first person perspective? We have no idea.
Yeah. Will they be able to pull this off? I added some additional things to this news story just because I thought it was pretty funny. Two developers, the developers for Path of Exiles and then the developers for Everspace 2, they have delayed their games in response to this because they were originally slated to come out that week. Cyberpunk's coming out, and they delayed till January, and they both stated, we know there's enough crossover with our fan bases that we're getting out of the way of Cyberpunk. Which I think is like the honesty that I like to see from developers of just like, hey, we don't want to, and it isn't even like, oh, we don't want to cannibalize each other. They're like, we don't want to get like eaten, like they're not
being
lying
so
to themselves.
Post Thanksgiving, prior to Christmas, like it's a risk in general. Like Immortals, Phoenix Rising is the same day. Like it's a risk. Like releasing in December is, I don't love that at all because like that's when. I don't know if Cyberpunk is the game that you buy as a Christmas gift. Like I think if somebody wants to play Cyberpunk, they're getting Cyberpunk. And if you may or may not have already pre-ordered it, you may or may not have already paid for it. Like there's just so much, so many things going on there. But it's just releasing in December is just a weird time because I feel like Cyberpunk is a game that you would just purchase for yourself. Like it's not one of those things where it doesn't carry the clout that mom or dad will just pick it up at the store for you.
Though this game will probably benefit from being out in December because their only competition in December is going to be Immortals. And the idea of this coming out like a week after the new consoles launch always kind of bothered me. Of just like you're going to want to play whatever's at launch, even though this launch lineup is pretty bad. But there's so many things going on that Cyberpunk being in there. Now it can be in December. People can get the like smaller distractions that are coming out of the way and then have more time to dedicate to Cyberpunk because nothing's really coming out after Cyberpunk until, January. Right. So that's like 3 weeks where Cyberpunk is out of the way of Black Friday sales. So they're going to be able to sell a $60 game that might hurt them based on how long some of those sales are going to go this year. But that at least dedicates like people to like me who is worried about like, I already told you like the things that I want to play, I want to play Bugsnax. I want to play Spider-Man. I want to play Demon Souls,
Valhalla.
And then Valhalla. And there was no way I was gonna be able to do that in that 3 week period.
There's a Call of Duty. There's a Call of Duty game in there.
Yeah. It's like, so now like I can try and squeeze that in without having to worry about the fucking 100-hour RPG in the middle of that. Though Valhalla is going to be like a 100-hour RPG based on some of this, how that franchise has been going.
Right.
So like it being in December, I think is going to help at least people in my case, you know, like some of the fans that want to play as many games as possible. Cause it's just like, oh, okay, cool. I still work, partial retail that I'm not going to have the most time those 3 weeks, but at least I can just dedicate one game as opposed to the anxiety of having like 4 new games out that week and trying to get through them and spend equal amount of time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving on to something we don't normally talk about, but it's definitely worth it this time. So
yeah. So last couple of weeks we've been talking about like how they're going to handle PlayStation Plus over the next couple months, because they have the what is it, they're not calling it the Instant Game Collection, right?
The PlayStation Plus Collection, or
PlayStation Plus Collection, which is 20 games, mostly first party, that are going to be available when a console launches until the new year. So me and Dave, I think just last week, were saying like, are there going to be a November, December PlayStation Plus things? And I think we both kind of joked of like, why isn't Bugsnax a PlayStation Plus game? And lo and behold, Bugsnax will be PlayStation Plus on day one. And I think it's available for... Is it a little bit of extended time? I feel like it's a little bit of an extended time for Bugsnax. I should have pulled that up. But yeah, Bugsnax will be available for November. So it's like Bugsnax, Shadow of War, and Hollow Knight will be the PlayStation Plus games for November. 2 of them are PS4 games, and the Bugsnax is the only native PS5 game that will be on Plus in November. So just in time for the console launch. Mm-hmm. So yeah, me and Dave were thinking,
it's just called PlayStation Plus Collection.
Yeah,
so it's not
which is a huge list. That I was looking at the list, and I've played every single one of these games.
But I mean, I'm really excited. Like I'm looking at the list right now. Like I'm really kind of interested. Like Days Gone, I played. It grabbed me for a little while, but then it didn't. And so to maybe see if that runs better on PS5, like that's an intriguing thing to me. I still want to play Detroit Become Human. And then like just like seeing how like Last of Us Remastered will work, Until Dawn. And then there's like Crash Bandicoot and Monster Hunter World. Like there's a whole list of of things that
Monster Hunter World, I would love to play that on PS5 just for fixed loading screens and the frame rate issues in that game.
Yeah. So there's definitely there's some cool stuff on here. So that'll be really interesting. And then like just Bugsnax is just one more thing to play. I mean, I feel like if you play any kind of online functionality at all, you have Plus, or your PS Plus subscription is stacked up anyways. So now you get Bugsnax, and then you get all these other games as well: Bloodborne, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Infamous, Ratchet and Clank. And if you have at this point in time, if you haven't played any of these games, I would just say just wait and play them on PS5. Especially if you're getting a PS5. So like that's a really cool thing. And then so now we know that they're setting some standards though of expectations. We know that Bugsnax is coming in November. We know that Destruction All Stars is coming in February. So is it going to be one of those things where they kind of, like you said, where they ride Bugsnax through the holiday and just say like, hey, if you have Plus, you get the game. Because there are still some people, and this isn't a dig, but I mean, it's in the Facebook group, somebody wrote, I feel like I never have these times, and this is what I worry about. And I would say at this point, if you're allowed to, and I don't know if you will or won't be, and we'll find out. PlayStation app just got an update, works great. You're starting to see the intermingling of voice chat and stuff like that. The reasons why I think they changed their firmware stuff for their party chat is showing a little bit more with this PS app update. But you can pre-order PS5 games on your app, digital games on the app. I can actually join a voice chat on the app and talk to people on my phone. And then you can also, I'm assuming you would be able to, if you don't even have a PS5 right away, you still should, and you're an active PS Plus member, I hope you can add it to your library.
I would assume you'd be able to add it to your library. And just to confirm, Bugsnax will be available November 12th until January 4th. So I don't know if that means they are just riding one PlayStation 5 PS Plus game until January.
Right, but does that mean that we get another PS5 game between January 4th and whenever they give us Destruction All-Stars?
Yeah, that's going to be the big question. And how long will this PlayStation Plus collection be a thing? Will they rotate games out of that, specifically the third-party games?
So again, like
situation.
Even if you don't own a PS5 or you're maybe you're waiting till the holiday to get a PS5, totally understandable, totally fine. I would just download the app, on your phone, and just to make sure you have it, and add these games to your library, because you never know when the game collection could change. And as long as in the past, as long as you have an active PS Plus subscription, I can go all the way back and play, a PS3 game that they gave me for PS Plus, because I still have an active PS Plus account. I was actually just going through my download list today with Owen, trying to find another game for him to play. And I was just literally just going through because it actually has the library on PS4 has under your signed in account has a PlayStation Plus thing. And I was like, oh, let's just go through these really quick. And I was like, I forgot how much stuff was in there. Like, jeez.
Yeah, especially if you've been consistent with it. I've been actually missing a lot of them, but that's just laziness on my part.
Right.
Because for a while I was just adding every game, even if I had no intention to play it. I would still add it to my list, and I kind of stopped doing it. Now I only add games that I actually care about. But holy shit, having PS Plus for like 10 years has really like destroyed my download list.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy with Bugsnax just because Bugsnax, I think it's like $25. So like, and Bugsnax is definitely like marketed towards me, I feel like, because it's like a Pokemon Snap Viva Pinata sort of experience. But it was one of those games where I was like, I'll probably have waited to pick that up between, Miles, Demon Souls, and then, at the time, Cyberpunk. So now that it's a Plus games mean I'm going to pick that up and download it right away. And probably play it, the week it comes out. I'm
so
happy
because now at least,
Snacks.
I mean, if you like in terms of things to play, like if you buy a PS5 at launch, brand new PS5 experiences with PS Plus, you're gonna have Astrobot, and you're gonna have Bugsnax, and you're gonna have that whole instant game collection. So again, if you like, you'll have some stuff, and we've already started to see, the benefits of PS5 and the way that games are the games that have been patched already for PS4, the way that they're running extremely better on PS4. Like they're just going to run extremely better on PS5, better than they're running on PS4 now.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing I'm like the most curious about with just seeing how the games run natively off the PS5, the PS4 games. Just because I don't know, I been talking about for weeks. Like I'm holding games for this year that I want to play.
Well, like I'd be really curious, like if this is gonna like show an influx of like Last of Us multiplayer again.
I hope so, because I don't think they killed those servers yet. Or at least it'd be silly if they killed those servers.
But I mean, like all of a sudden now people have because even like if you haven't owned a PS4 in a while, or you're buying there's probably a 7-day or 14-day PS Plus trial in there.
Probably, most likely. There's usually a little booklet in there.
And then if you haven't played multiplayer in a while, and if like all of a sudden like the matchmaking and the load times are better for like factions and stuff, like that'll be so much fun to play again. Yep,
and it'll be a good reason to get the fan base riled up and be like, "Where's factions 2 or whatever they would call it," which I still think is going to be a thing. I just don't know.
It's going to be standalone though. So
yeah. So that was that little news story, and then let's just talk a little bit about Black Friday, the thing that sends shivers down mine and Dave's spine.
We're not open on Thanksgiving this year, so I'm good. So.
I'm not either, but it's still one of those things where that weekend is still hell. Maybe not for you.
You haven't been doing retail as long as I've been doing retail. I'm just more numb to it than you are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. I have PTSD from my fucking Target days.
Yeah.
Which we'll probably talk about in bonus episode for Patreon this month. So some of the highlights, I just pulled up the Best Buy ad because they were the first ones to show it. And usually video game deals are the same across the board. No one ever really competes on video game deals. Just some of the highlights. The Last of Us Part 2 is going to be $30.
Buy it.
Ghost of Tsushima is going to be $40.
I might need to buy it. So.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater is $29. Final Fantasy VII Remake is $29. Doom Eternal's $20. Avengers, which I was excited about, is $29. Iron Man VR is $20.
I might just get that just because.
Star Wars Squadron is $19. So if you're
that might be another thing that just ends up happening.
Yeah, especially with the VR stuff being really good. So it's like $19.99 on Black Friday. that whole weekend. I don't know how stores are really exactly handling all this stuff yet, but yeah, and there's just a ton of stuff as usual. But those were the highlights, and of course, the new consoles will be out. No deals on the new consoles. Though I think I saw a deal either from Target that if you buy an Xbox Series X, you get $10 off an additional controller. Ooh. So, yeah, that might be worth it for some. Dave might be interested that Stadia Premier Edition is $74.99. That comes with the Chromecast and the Stadia controller. Is it worth it, Dave? At that point for you, almost.
xCloud's better. Like
that's what I was gonna say. Like now that xCloud is out, like there's. Like,
I have that controller now that I've been messing with on my phone. I really didn't mess with it this much. I still want to take that thing to work and just see what it's like at work. But
yeah, with like store Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but if I really want, I don't know, because like with Stadia, like, at least with xCloud, like. The thing that the xCloud has going for me is that if I'm playing like Ori and the Blind Forest or playing Destiny or playing whatever on Game Pass, like I can play it on xCloud and bring it home and play it on my Xbox or play it on my PC through my Xbox app on PC, and that's all one continuous account. Or if I buy the game on Xbox, I can move it on the back and forth. With Stadia, like if I'm playing Darksiders 3 on Stadia, it's a different save file. Like I can't, I have to only play it on Stadia. So like there is absolutely no reason for me to get a Stadia.
I thought that maybe that would be just at the price point that you would just like.
If xCloud wasn't part of Game Pass Ultimate, maybe.
Yeah.
But
you're fully like on board with xCloud now.
It works. I enjoy it. I can take my 5-year-old can play Super Lucky Tales on his Chromebook that he uses for virtual kindergarten. I can plug a controller into it and he can play it on the couch.
Angela is in the chat and she said not getting Stadia. Yeah. So yeah, you won't be getting Stadia.
I'm not getting Stadia because I'm getting 2 new consoles in the month of November.
For some reason, I just pictured you just messaging me like a picture of the Stadia controller and being like, I bought it. And I'm like, why, Dave? Why?
Yeah, no, that's not that. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I was able to I just need to get better in realizing like the Xbox Series S is going to go upstairs. That's where it's gonna be, played, and then anything that I want to play down here that I stream, I'll just play it through my PC. So yeah.
Other things that are on sale, like today specifically, Amazon has like all the Samsung SSDs on sale, which I saw a lot of people jumping the gun and buying them. Sony has not released their whitelist yet, so I would not buy any of these internal NVMe drives. Just because you don't know if they're compatible.
Or if you do it, don't open it.
Yeah, Western. So the ones that are on sale are the 3.0, and those aren't going to be fast enough. Western Digital actually has a drive that I'm eyeballing that I believe they said would be compatible, but I don't trust it yet until Sony says it. But if you do end up, the one eyeball comes out next week, happens to come out the same time the new consoles comes out.
Interesting.
It's the Western Digital SN850. So these for like 500 gigs, it's 150, and it's for 250, it's a 1 terabyte. Those might be fast enough, but you still need Sony to approve that. To say like, hey, this is fast enough, but this is the one to watch. This one, again, it comes out next week, so it's not going to be on any sales right away. But don't jump the gun and buy an NVMe during Black Friday because they're not all going to be compatible or able to run the games natively off them. I'm assuming if you put the wrong one in, you're just going to end up with one that just can store games and not play games.
Just wait for these tech YouTubers to spend $1,500 on hard drives and test them. Just wait.
Yeah.
Like even if Sony puts their little logo on it, like that's fine. Just wait for these people that have, 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and they're going to be like, here's how long it takes for this game to load, and this is how easy it is. Let them drop $2,000 on the hard drives and say, this one's 3.2 seconds faster, and then make your decision based on price. Like let somebody else do the work for you. You don't need this drive right now. Like, I'm sorry. Like, download your 1 or 2 PS Plus games, download your Destiny, download your, Call of Duty, and, like, have your 3 or 4 games on there. You're not going to be playing more than 3 or 4 games anyways. And when you get done, if you play God of War for your first time through your Plus Instant Collection, play it, beat it, delete it, download something else.
Yeah. Or do what I'm doing, because I say, fuck whatever Dave just said. And I'm getting... an internal SSD drive, like an actual SSD drive, not an NVMe, an SSD drive, and I'm going to get an enclosure with 3.1 USB, and I'm just going to use that as just storage.
How much is that?
So you can get like a 1 terabyte SSD for like $60, $60 to $100. So, and the reason I'm getting that for external storage is I do not want to hook up a regular ass external hard drive, a mechanical drive, because I feel like that defeats the purpose. If I'm going to use it for raw storage, I want to alleviate the time it takes for me to store a game on, transfer a game from the drive to the system. So I'm just going to get an SSD with a 3.1 USB just to mitigate some of that transfer speed.
But what about if PS5 has better? What if PS5's download speeds are 100% better than PS4's?
No, I'm not talking about download speeds. I'm talking about raw transfer speeds.
No, I know, but I'm just saying is like if it's going to take... Okay, so like today I downloaded Watch Dogs Legion on my PS4. I think it's like a 45 gig game. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but it took like a half an hour. So if that's going to take 15 minutes... okay. See, there's the difference between you and I. You're dumb because you let an ISP give you a data cap. I don't. You have a choice. I don't. I have. You live in the city, in a heavily populated city, and you get screwed by your ISPs. I live in the suburbs, and I have 9 choices for internet. 9.
Yeah. In Chicago, because of the way it's all like segregated in terms of like the haves and the haves nots, my choice for ISPs in my area is AT&T, which the fastest I can get for AT&T is 25 down, or Comcast with gigabit internet, but I'm limited to 1 terabyte a month. So like I could have unlimited internet, but it would be 24 down.
I had a capped internet provider for 3 days, and I think I left ESPN on when I fell asleep once. And I looked at my data. I'm like, nope.
It's terrible. Yeah, but unfortunately,
I'm like I don't want this stress. I can't remember to charge my watch. You think I'm gonna remember to turn ESPN off and I gotta when I go to work?
Dude, like when I was furloughed, I would get that notification 2 weeks into the month. You're halfway through your data cap, and I'm just like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, no sir.
So for me, like getting an external SSD for like $60 to $100. Because like Warzone
for me that's dumb.
Yeah, for me it's just convenience. Also, I like to bounce between a bunch of different games. You're fine deleting the game and never going back to it, but like I still want to dabble in Warzone from time to time. I would
be curious with my internet though. Like if you and I I wonder that would be really curious. So if we somehow we both own Cyberpunk digitally or something, like if I kick it off the download from the store and you transfer it from your hard drive, like I wonder which one would be faster.
Probably the transfer, because I'm talking about for the transfer, because I would be going from the PS5 to an SSD for just raw storage. I'm probably looking at like 10 to 20 minutes. Okay. I still don't have complete faith that there won't be some bullshit copying on the PS5.
Yeah. Preparing to download. What?
Yeah.
I already told you to download. What are you preparing?
Especially PSN is like notoriously like one of the slower servers.
What do you think the networks are going to look like? What is Xbox going to look like November 10th?
Not to be a dick, but I think Xbox Live will do just fine with the traffic that they get.
And what's PSN going to look like that 2 days later?
Trash fire. It's like I have a feeling there are going to be a lot more people buying PlayStations.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't trust the infrastructure at Sony to be able to handle the day one stuff. I feel like Xbox would probably have crashing issues but I just don't think they're going to have the volume of users day one that PlayStation will have. Because the PlayStation, I think no matter what, PlayStation's going to outsell Xbox. Like
in the first quarter, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Past that, too hard to tell.
Yeah.
But they're going to have more consoles of people trying to play it. They're going to have more games that are just going to be not necessarily like the instant game collection or the PlayStation Plus collection. Yes, it's less games in Game Pass, but I feel like that's more spread out. You're going to have more people downloading the same games, and then any games that have multiplayer are going to be working with people on the PS4 side, and the PS4 side already has a larger fan base than the previous gen Xbox stuff.
Have they confirmed upgrades to Warzone day one?
I don't know.
Okay.
I would have to look into
because I think that could be a huge deal, like that, because we're talking about like 150 gigs, and people are going to want the higher than 60 frames on Warzone on PS5 or on Xbox Series, regardless. And especially with it being a free to play thing, that could be something that people go to like right away. That could definitely be instrumental. But I agree with you. Like there is going to be more people hitting Sony's thing, and then now the other thing too is like I don't even know. I guess the 25% digital versions versus the 75% disc. Do you think that's a fair ratio?
Yeah, I could see that.
Those 25%, like they don't have a choice.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people, especially with the PlayStation Plus collection. I feel like you're funneling people into specific things. I know that's not exactly how the internet works and servers work, but I have a feeling.
Why are your PlayStation? Why are your Xbox? At least the first couple of days that you're trying to play, like just
Though that won't help if the servers crash.
Correct. But if the servers are intermittent, wiring it will help you versus getting a faster download. It should. I
just have a feeling this launch will be kind of rough for both companies because it's the first time that they have to worry about like crossplay between generations. So that's like a whole other thing that they're gonna have to jump over.
I can't wait to see somebody like it, and I'm gonna use Destiny as an example. Every time they release some kind of patch or something happens, I can't wait for them to see we're working on issues of PS5 players being able to connect to PS4 players. Like it's gonna happen. Like
yeah, I just have a feeling we're gonna see some server issues. We see that every launch, but I have a feeling PlayStation will probably get hit more just due to popularity than Xbox. And Xbox, we're like, hey, we're stable, but that's going to be a sign of like, yeah, you're stable because not many people are playing. Like
you still can't get.
They still go down.
You still can't get a Series. I can't see anywhere you can get a Series S or X right now. So I don't know in terms of availability. And like Xbox has said that there's going to be consoles available in stores on launch day. Sony has not said that yet. And then also, I thought I saw something over the last day or so that said that there'll be PS5s and Xbox Series available on Black Friday. So I don't know if that's when they're planning their second wave out, which would be terrible if you plan your second wave on Black Friday. Like, shame on you.
Retailers do that though.
I know.
Retailers will hold it for Black Friday, even though they're like, hey, we want to keep our employees and our customers safe. And Friday, they're going to just be like, hey, please come to the store.
I know, but you don't. If anything is proven the last 6 months during this pandemic is you do not need to have a sale on a specific day to drive business. I'm sorry.
Yep, but they won't learn, and they will do it. And I guarantee there's going to be, like I'll talk to some people in retail and just see, like my friends at Target, like, because what we used to do for like with the Wii U launch and Xbox and PS4 launch is there'll be the ones that we can sell every day, and then there'll be the mountain of systems just off to the side where it's just like those are not to be touched until Black Friday. So I guarantee that it will still be a thing.
So Snake's saying in the chat, I think he saw the same thing I saw. Best Buy will have PS5s on Black Friday, but online only.
Which I wonder, because Best Buy's pushing for store pickup, so those will probably still be available in store, but only for online.
But
pickup.
That'll be one of those things where you'll be watching football on Thursday, and it'll be like, get your PS5 from Best Buy at midnight, and then they'll all be gone at like 12:05, and you can go to the store at like 8 o'clock in the morning and pick it up.
Yeah.
Like,
so
that's what's going to happen with those. So
yeah, there will be people lining up for their pickups probably more than ever this year. Hopefully, I guess.
Well, we saw some stuff like 'cause we've got a couple members that live in the UK in our Facebook group, and they're getting ready to go into a 4-week shutdown because of COVID. And we saw that their retailers were working with their government, and they want people to pay their console pre-orders off within the next 48 hours or something like that, and then they can actually do like a curbside pickup for them because the businesses won't be open. And the businesses, Black Friday, I don't think is as big of a deal in Europe as it is over here, obviously. But I'm sure that it still has repercussions over there. But I mean, they're going to be closed for the entire month of November.
Yeah, which good on them. We definitely could use that over here. All right, so that's all for Black Friday stuff that I could see, or at least all the game stuff that I saw that was worthwhile. But again, people hold back on the SSDs, wait for the list to come out, or like Dave said, wait for people to find out the ones. Because I'm sure there's going to be some SSDs that, like, there's no way Sony is going to be able to test every single drive out there. So there'll be some that do work well enough.
I guarantee you there's going to be, like, this drive costs $20 more, but you get... these speeds, like they're going to be testing everything. They're going to be testing load times for Call of Duty matchmaking. They're going to be testing, Fortnite drop times. Like, they're going to be testing everything. Just let them do it. Like, this is what they get. Yeah. This is what they make their living off of. Give them 5 days and you'll know. Yeah.
But that is it for the news.
All right. What we're playing and watching. Why don't you go ahead, because I have not, today was my first day off of work, and I changed stores as well this week. So I had Halloween over the weekend with my kids, with my child. The other ones are grown. But so I did not play it nearly as much as you did, and then just we'll use Watch Dogs as a transition. So
yeah. All right, so I am still playing Hades on the Switch. This is easily one of the best games I've played this year. I wasn't expecting it. I've only made it through like the first 2 worlds, but it's a roguelike, so I'm just meant to, continue to, fail over and over again. The cool thing that's pushing me along with this one is the characters and story are really fleshed out and told in between your deaths. So every time you return to your hub world, there's different characters to talk to, and they react to the things that you've done in the world based on like how far you've progressed through Hades. So I just love the way that's handled. Like, the character designs, the writing is really good, and I don't mind when I die because I'm kind of excited to get back to the hub world to find out more about the characters and more about the world, and seeing how they like fleshed out like their version of Greek mythology. So really love that. And it's definitely like, it's probably going to be a top 5 game for me this year, which I wasn't expecting. Then Halloween, me and Sarah started to play the latest Dark Pictures Anthology game, Little Hope. So this is the second in their series. They just announced the 3rd game because I think they put it in a trailer at the end of this game. So this is 2 of 3 for right now. Premise for this one is a college bus trip. Like, it's like a small class trip for some college students. Their bus crashes and they basically get lost in a ghost town with like a mysterious fog that's kind of keeping them in town or directing them through the town. It's still kind of unclear. This game, I feel like, is significantly more scary than Man of Medan was. So Man of Medan was just kind of like a group of young adults who were just kind of getting in way over their head, treasure hunting, and there were some scary elements to it. But this from like the start, has way more of a horror movie vibe with like creatures lurking in the background and a bunch of jump scares. So this one already seems like it's going for more of a traditional like horror movie vibe than Man of Medan was. So I'm liking that. I do like the you didn't check out Man of Medan, right, Dave?
I did not.
Okay. So this is like, the Until Dawn games where it's like, every decision you make, you play multiple characters. They can die at any time, really. So the story changes as you go. So far, I like all the characters in the game. Me and Sarah are doing the pass the controller mode. So at the start of the game. Basically has you select the characters you want to play. You type in all the players' names, like Michael, Sarah, and then we just kind of draft our team based on the characters that are available. So we pass the controller every time a scene is focused on one specific character. So really into that. It's only like 4 to 5 hours. I believe we're like 2 hours in it, 2 or 3 hours in. So far enjoying it. Definitely it's one of those games I can only play at night. Don't want to play this during the day and ruin whatever atmosphere it has going for it. The game does, like, sometimes the game looks kind of bad. Like, I don't know, just like the animations are just a little off. The character models sometimes look really good, sometimes they don't. We're playing on a PS4 Pro. It hitches every once in a while, but it's not too bad on that. So probably we'll finish it up sometime this week. That was like our Halloween thing. Like, that was our like main focus for Halloween. And then Pacer. So Pacer is a futuristic racing game. We got a copy for review, which I'm just going to do a quick review right now, just because I ended up really getting into this game. Like I got it Friday or Thursday, and then I've just been playing it whenever I have free time over the last like 3 days. And I was off today and yesterday, so I put a lot of time into it. This is a spiritual successor to the Wipeout franchise. There's a lot of people on this development team that worked on Wipeout and a bunch of other racing games. So it has the Wipeout legacy. And if I didn't know this game was called Pacer and I just saw like a trailer for it without a game title, I would have said like, oh shit, there's a new Wipeout. Because it looks exactly like Wipeout looked, ship designs, world, track design. It is a Wipeout game. It's just not named Wipeout, but it has the pedigree of that franchise. And it even has like artists that were in previous Wipeout games, like Code Storage does some of the soundtrack. So it has everything you would want from a Wipeout game, just without the name. So it's like, neon future cities with stylized airships with a little bit of weapon combat on top of it. For the most part, like they're not doing a ton of things different than what we're used to seeing in Wipeout. They have just basically tweaked like the formula for Wipeout. So when you're playing the game, it's very easy to just be like, this is how a Wipeout game plays, and then that muscle memory just transitions really easy into that. And there's only small things tweaked in how some of the game modes work and some of the, like the menus work. But overall, it's a Wipeout game. The small changes they've made to it or to the formula work really well. Like I like how some of the weapons are, and the game modes that they have some new game modes in it, but you have your traditional Wipeout modes or racing modes. My favorite one though, which is a new mode, which I haven't seen in a racing game before. It might be something that's in another racing game. I just might have missed it. It's called Storm. So this is basically a survival race where you have to stay within a bubble that's constantly moving. If you're outside of the bubble, you take damage that destroys your ship's like shield and health, and you will blow up and get eliminated. So you're constantly trying to move inside this bubble, and the bubble gets smaller and smaller as the game progresses. So it's basically like 10 cars battle royale. Because you're just trying to stay within the circle as it gets smaller and smaller. So you're trying to keep speed with this thing that's constantly moving faster or slower. So it's a cool balance, and I really like this mode. Campaign is pretty standard. It just feels like an extended tutorial for the most part. It's just trying to teach you all the different mechanics and have you learn the different teams that are in the, like in the game, like the different companies. So it's really like an extended tutorial, and I mean really extended tutorial, where they're like, hey, this team really are into air brakes, so you can't turn normally, you can only turn with air brakes. Or this team is weapons focused, so The missions that we're going to have you do are weapons-based missions. So the campaign's basically just building you up for like the quick play aspect or the online multiplayer, which online multiplayer isn't super popular right now. The game just came out Thursday. I did find a game every time I looked, but there wasn't like a ton of servers playing. You know, you can create a server, you can go into matchmaking. There weren't a lot of servers being played, but usually when I went to matchmaking, I would find something within like 3 to 5 minutes, which isn't great, but it's a new game that I feel like snuck in under the radar. So I'm hoping that gets a little bit better as things, you know, move on and more people know this game exists. There are issues with like frame rate on a base PS4. I also have a PS4 Pro, so on that the game runs really smooth. Didn't notice too many frame rate issues. I mostly noticed frame rate issues in the cinematics for the game. So the cinematics before
weird.
the race, the camera will chug. But once you're in the race, it's smooth as hell.
Do you think that the cinematics are hiding a loading screen still?
I'm guessing that's what they're doing. Because I can't figure out why it would chug in the cinematic that's just showing you like this is the course basically.
Have they talked? Have you seen anything? Have they said anything about next gen?
No, they haven't, which I'm really interested in because this game does run really smooth on a PS4 Pro.
Because like we've heard that like next gen has like an internal boost mode or something. You know?
Yeah, and that's actually one of those things. When I was playing it, I was like, shit, I can't wait to play this on the PS5, just because it runs smooth enough here. But
because I remember when we saw it at E3, I think they were shooting for like 60 frames, right?
Yeah, and I think they hit that. I think they struggle a little bit on the base PS4, but I feel like we've hit that point in a generation where that base PS4 is just too underpowered.
It's done.
Yeah. So definitely, if you have a Pro, this is, and you're interested in Wipeout, this is definitely
how much does it cost
to work on it. That's what I'm looking up right now. I want to say it's like $30.
Yeah.
So let me just check real quick.
So because that might be fun. That might be fun for you to get for PS if you're picking up a PS5 as well and you liked Wipeout.
It's $40, which seems a little steep, but the campaign is pretty long. The multiplayer is pretty fun. Okay. It's basically going to come down to like, how much did you like the Wipeout series?
Yeah,
I love the Wipeout series, and as much as I love the Omega Collection, I wanted more tracks and new ships, and this has given me that. It doesn't have everything that a Wipeout game has, but it has enough that like $40 I feel like isn't too steep of a price if you're looking for that type of experience. I feel
like they kind of hinted at some type of seasonal-esque type content as well when we saw it, so I'd be curious to see if they can hit that mark.
So when you launch the game now, it says Halloween edition, and I've noticed some cobwebs and stuff in the ship or like in the track stuff. Okay. So I think by seasonal content, I think that's kind of what they mean. I'm hoping it expands later on, but I noticed that like it does say Halloween edition, and when I was going through the track, I noticed like cobwebs in certain areas. So I'm wondering if that's like a light test of what they could do. But if they find like a online community for this game, I would love to see what they would do, because I do remember them talking about like trying to do some seasonal stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, definitely worth a buy if you are looking for like a Wipeout experience. And we've seen a lot of
Wipeout clones. Yeah,
Wipeout clones pop up over the last couple years, and none of them have quite felt right. This is the closest we've gotten, I think, to a Wipeout game that isn't from Sony. So definitely check that out. And then Watch Dogs Legion. So Dave, you want to take this away, because you played more Watch Dogs Legion than I did.
Yeah. So Ubisoft was nice enough to send us a code for Watch Dogs Legion. The way Michael and I have something set up, we have the ability to game share amongst each other. So that's what we're doing. And so I got some more time to dabble with it today. Started seeing a little bit more of the story, like right off the bat. The beginning of it was actually a little different than I expected it to be, in terms of like how they're setting up the system and what's happening. And then it kind of throws you right in to making a decision in terms of who you want to get and it doesn't really kind of give you a whole lot of background. Like I was a little like I didn't really understand right off the bat like what some of these perks were.
Some of those perks, man, are a stretch. They crack me up. Like, not to cut you off, but like I even put a note because I put notes when I play stuff.
Yeah.
So they throw you in it. How many characters would you say are in that select screen? Like 20?
No, like 12 maybe.
12? Okay.
Yeah.
And some of the traits that they have are like reasonable traits of like, hey, this person, you'll spend half the time in jail if any of your people get arrested. These people will be injured 20 minutes shorter. And then some of the fucking character traits are kind of laughable, where it's just like, this person has a pistol and this person has access to a car, even though you can steal a car relatively easy in the game. It's a little weird how they handle that stuff, where I almost feel like they have a cool idea, but they didn't know.
Yeah, so that was the first, like, I definitely feel like there's a little bit of a pacing issue with this game right now. And I think I talked about that I was worried about it having a pacing issue when you can just go out and do whatever you want and start like picking up people and maybe play some missions or not play some missions. I have already failed a couple of recruitment missions where I died during the mission and then that person just can't be recruited. Like you fail with what you were doing and then they completely hate DedSec and they're like crossed off on your screen. So that was kind of annoying. And then it did exactly what I was worried about it doing before, of where it told me what type of person I had to go recruit.
Yes, which I told you during the preview, that there will be missions where it's like, we need a police officer, so go recruit a police officer.
Yeah, I get it.
A construction worker.
But let me figure that out.
Yeah, because you're only like, 6 hours into the game, so I feel like that's too soon to ask you to do that.
Like they already told me to go get a construction worker because I got to take something out and I need the drone. And so I was like, okay. And then, I get it. Like, you're going to be able to go to like certain boroughs of the town and find the people, and a couple missions that I cleared, all of a sudden it just gave me new operatives. I don't find myself switching around the operatives too much yet. I think I might do that as I start like learning stuff, but I'm definitely struggling. Like, it's been so long since I played a Watch Dogs game that I was forgetting the mechanics of like hack the camera, then hack to the next camera, and then hack to the next camera and get the download file, versus me just forgetting that I can do that. Excuse me, forgetting I can do that, but then just going in and it's just it feels like it's really, really cool with what they're trying to do of like your ability to play with different characters, but it's missing some soul.
I feel like that is like a theme with this game because I'm enjoying it too. Like, I want to say, like, I'm enjoying it.
I've always loved, like, that's what I loved about Watch Dogs 2 the most, is the mechanic and the gameplay mechanic, messing with the drones, messing with the little spider bot, distracting people and then doing a stealth takedown. Like, that gameplay loop I love and I enjoy, and figuring it out. But it's just like the fact of it that there's so many different characters, like, it's so far, like, the story hasn't clicked for me yet. I just cleared a borough where I set off some stuff and I have control of a borough and I got the extra operative, so like maybe I'm still like kind of in the tutorial part of it a little bit, but it can be a little overwhelming.
It's a little overwhelming, and then I feel like Ubisoft has a problem. Like, I have a problem like Ubisoft games, especially games like this, where they kind of hover by politics, but they don't want to be political, so it kind of gets into wacky, to where there's like almost like a dissonance when it comes to very serious cutscenes and then me just doing stupid open world shit in the middle of the game, which I don't think that's like just exclusive issue with this game, but that's definitely like a thing that I have with games in general. But like, this one is really kind of this, like, they gotta hit you with some heavy stuff in the beginning of the game, and then it's just like, pick a drunk old lady to be your first operative. So some of that stuff's a little weird. The AI guy, Bagley, is a little too cheeky for like what we're going through.
The recruitment missions are blah.
Yeah, and that's another thing where I feel like the technology or what they were trying to do is really cool, and I'm fascinated by it, and that's why I'm going to explore this game the most. But I feel like they were held back by maybe like hardware limitations, so they couldn't go full into like cool things to do with the system. So you're just kind of stuck with basic ass recruitment missions.
Yeah.
And
go hack this
gameplay.
file. Hey, you want to join DedSec? Oh, cool. I thought you'd never ask.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, you recruit someone and it's just like, someone's bullying me. All right, let me go punch them. Okay, I punched them. Are you gonna join now? Yeah, I'm gonna join now.
Like
okay,
I was
cool.
okay. So like I recruited like a ring fighter.
Yeah.
Like I think that was actually part of the story. I think everybody had to do that. And I was like, I'm gonna go in my mind. I'm like, we're gonna go into an underground fight club to find this guy. Nope, he's just standing out in the street.
Yeah, and
I was like,
think that's the thing
on.
where I don't know if it's like a limitation of the hardware or they just need to like answer to the open world video game gods, to where it's just like, hey, we have this cool mechanic idea, but we still need to make like a open world game.
London is
huge. London is huge. It looks great.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing on a PS4 Pro. We can talk about like some of the hardware stuff in a couple minutes. But like the game looks gorgeous. I hate driving in London. There's nothing wrong with the driving mechanics in this game.
Oh, I mean, yes, there are, but it's just a Ubisoft driving game.
Okay.
So,
like I'm not used to London roads, so I don't know if that was the driving or me or a combination of the two.
The Watch Dogs has always felt a little floaty driving. So
okay, yeah, because I felt it was floaty, and then I'm just getting confused by turnabouts and stuff, and I'm just like, what the? Okay, I'm just driving down the wrong side of the road because there just seems to be no consequences for me doing this.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just. I want to like this game more than I am so far, but I'm just. It's not clicking with me yet. You're a couple hours in more than me. And
have you cleared a burrow?
No. I'm in the process of doing that.
Okay.
So when you say clear the burrow, I immediately think of Ubisoft games, like Assassin's Creed, where it's just like, hey, go to this district, do like a couple tasks, or kill the people, and then a part of the map gets cleared out.
Yeah.
Which I don't like engaging with those aspects yet or anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm probably gonna have to deal with that stuff. But again, I'm interested in how the world is built and how it works, and that is my thing pushing me to continue to play this.
I do want to see what kind of ridiculousness they take to take down the corporations. Like that, because they push, like you said, they Ubisoft gets you really, really close to the edge. Like, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? And then they don't do it. But they get really close.
It frustrates me as hell because they want their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
To where like, we want to be relevant, but we don't want to play with the politics because that's dangerous water that we'll get in. And it's just like, okay, either fucking do it or don't.
Yeah, they did this with Far Cry 5 with like the religious cult aspect of it. I'm like, all right, they were trying to do it.
It was a letdown.
Yeah, they were trying to do it with Watch Dogs 2 with like corrupt elections, and I was like, are they gonna do it? Like, and then now like you're hearing some of the stuff like this is also, I think, sort of coming out at a bad time. Where like London's kind of London's kind of in a lockdown in this game. Like,
well, yeah, and again, when they announced this game, they were just like, what if all these bad things happen? And then Brexit was happening around the same time.
Yeah.
So I think again, what we saw with Far Cry, where Far Cry is like, we're gonna fucking talk about like crazy religious people in the South, and then things got too real, and then they pulled back from it. And I feel like they did that again, where they're like, we're going to get real, and then Brexit got real, and then they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brexit got real and COVID's real. Like,
yeah. So like they have to pull things back, and then it leads to like just a little bit of disappointing story that I want them to take risks, but I also know Ubisoft are trying to make a very marketable AAA game, so they can't take those risks of offending people.
But it's Watch Dogs. Like, let's just be clear. Like, this is 100% Watch Dogs. If you enjoyed Watch Dogs 2 or 1, there's nothing.
For mechanics purposes.
Yeah, there is nothing wrong with more Watch Dogs. Like, I'm loving the little banters back and forth, and how you can go about and never enter an area and kind of like clear the whole area and get what you need and get out. Like, that's there. That's a really cool gameplay mechanic. This recruitment thing is, I I gave it an award before just because it was it was more Watch Dogs and I was down and I still am.
And it sounded cool.
Yeah.
The recruitment system.
And like that was just a little like that was more frosting. I was like the cake itself is Watch Dogs and it's fine and it's good. The recruitment is what I thought it was going to be and it ended up being a little bit more bland so far.
Yeah. Basically, for me, Watch Dogs Legion is half pregnant. If that makes, you know what I mean?
Bad pullout game.
Yeah. No, but it's like this impossible half idea. Like this is like what this game. The idea.
No, Dad. I swear, I'm only half pregnant. It's okay.
Yeah. It makes no sense. Like that's what I mean. Like you can't be half pregnant, and Watch Dogs Legions, from an idea standpoint, is half pregnant, and that's my current issue with it. And I'm hoping it pulls out something eventually.
Oh God.
Okay, I'm killing you there.
Oh my God.
Hardware transition.
Yeah, bad pun.
Yeah. I noticed that it was having like frame rate issues on the PS4 Pro. I noticed some weird character model stuff, but open world games always have weird shit. But you mentioned something kind of funny because you never really have an issue with your PS4.
Yeah, so this is the loudest I think my PS4 has been.
Okay.
And it could be because with some of the stuff I've been rearranging in the last couple of weeks, my PS4 is actually physically sitting on my desk right now, and normally it sits kind of off to a shelf over here on the left side, but I was doing some maneuvering and stuff, and for some reason it's sitting on the desk right now, and it's shaking my desk. It's not shaking my desk, but it's making enough noise that it sounds like my desk is shaking.
If you put your hand on your desk while it's on, you can feel.
Yeah. So, and then I still had the game on and I took my headphones off, and because I always wear like the headphones that if you guys watch this on Twitch or watch me stream, like I have some pretty good Logitech headphones with like some nice leather ear cups that plug into my mixer really well. That's the only reason I use them. Other than the fact that they're like super comfortable too. But I don't like, my son can be behind me and I get scared all the time. If you ever watch me on stream and somebody shows up behind me, like I jump because I don't know somebody's behind me because I can't hear them. So then I took my headphones off and I'm like, what the hell is that noise? And it was my PlayStation. So thankfully I'm getting a new system in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I told you already, but I feel like that's current hardware knowing it's going to be replaced soon, so it's just.
But hey, man, this thing's 7 years old and it's still humming. So
yeah, that's your launch PS4, right?
Yeah, literally humming, but it's
I have to open all my PlayStations and dust them out. So.
I never did that, and I'm kind of scared to do that now with this, and I'm not going to because like I'm just gonna take it.
Base PS4 are actually really easy to clean.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take it upstairs and let Owen play it. From a performance standpoint for me, the only thing that I've noticed is I feel like I've got some characters teleporting. Some NPCs have been teleporting on me, and I ran into an issue on stream today where like I had to blow up a car and I failed the mission once or twice, and I went back and the car wasn't there. But that's a typical Ubisoft thing in terms of like an open world mission structure.
Hard crashes?
Not yet. I know our buddy Palmer, he's been blue screened like 6 times playing the game over the weekend.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
And I heard it's been overheating Xbox One X's.
Yeah, it sounds like this game's run pretty hot. It was again another one of those games where I was playing it on the PS4, and I'm just like, I have to play this for for the show, but new consoles are out next week.
Yeah, I mean, with my schedule at work and some stuff coming out, I want to play it some more too because I'm having fun playing the game, but I'm like, it might just be better on PS5.
Yeah,
it will be better on PS5.
It's a free upgrade too, so
yeah. So, did you watch anything?
No. So I kind of, because I've been working a lot, because work COVID stuff. I've just been watching, like, doing the comfort food thing that you usually do with like crime shows, but I rewatch old shows, so I'm watching Angel.
Okay.
We're in season 2. I don't know why. We always rewatch Buffy, and we rarely rewatch Angel, so we've just started to rewatch Angel.
I fell down. I didn't talk about this last week, but for some, I tripped upon it. It's like a Fox comedy. It's on Netflix. New Girl.
I've been wanting to start New Girl because I hear it's actually pretty good.
Oh, this is a show that Michael approves. There's like there's like 7 seasons of this thing, but again, it's one of those like 20-minute episodes on Netflix where I'm like, you can watch like 3 episodes in an hour, and so it's got some pretty funny moments in it. It's essentially 3 male roommates, 1 female roommate, that are living in a loft in Los Angeles. You have the typical, like, you have the the black guy, and then the poor guy, and the rich guy, and then the teacher girl, and there's some cringy episodes, but then there's some funny moments in the cringy episodes, and I think we're on season 3. We now, because Angela started watching it with me again randomly, like halfway through, and of course she's like asking the questions, and I'm like, but I mean, for the most part, it's it's kind of something I put on, like, it's like 8:30, we're like, we don't want to like watch a movie or anything like that, so we just watch like 3 or 4 episodes of that.
It's one of those shows where I'm thinking of starting to watch it just because I always, when I'm at work and I'm working on a bunch of computers, I usually have my phone with like a TV show on in the background, and I feel like New Girl would probably be a good show. Totally
could do that. Yeah. So like that's for the most part like what we've been watching. We watched on Halloween night, like, trick or treating in my town was like a bust. In my neighborhood, Owen went out for like 35 minutes at the most. Granted, he got a ton of stuff like from trunk or treats from other places, but like we went down on our block, like nobody had their lights on. We did. Good. Good that nobody had their lights on?
Yes, yeah. I feel like this year is a good year not to have your lights on.
Yeah. But it's just kind of tough to explain it to a 5-year-old. It's tough to explain it to a 5-year-old. Like, and then he went down like another block, and there was some there. We saw some people that we knew. They gave him some candy, and anybody that saw him like gave him a bunch of candy because they weren't getting a lot of kids. So I mean, like, in terms of like the block and a half that he did get a bunch of candy, and he goes, I just want to go home. Like, and it wasn't like super warm or anything like that, but I mean, he was all right with it, because he's like, I just want, because he was playing Knack. We think we beat Knack. I had it on easy, and I don't remember it ending like the way it did. But then all of a sudden, now his save file's back at the beginning. So I don't know what he did, or it glitched, but I think he beat it. But just, I think on the super easy mode, I don't think it has the final boss fight that I remembered playing. But I could have also just not remembered it correctly, since it was like, I looked at my trophies and I earned them in like 2013. So that was for the most part. Like, I think tried to get him to play. He tried playing Fall Guys.
Oh, that probably can frustrate a child.
Oh yeah, so he used to. So we played a little bit of that, and then he downloaded. I haven't had a chance to play it with him yet, but we downloaded the Hyrule Warriors demo on the Switch. Okay. So there seems to be a pretty big demo for that. I haven't had a chance to check out yet, but he seems to be having some fun with that tonight. So. All right, we're going to move on to questions and comments. We get one from Darren Curtis on our Facebook group. First of all, happy birthday. Did you guys do anything together to celebrate? Tops look great. Thanks. So I believe he's actually talking about the shirts. So that's what we did together. We launched our shirt line. Yeah.
I don't talk to Dave more than I have to. No, we don't really do any celebrating sort of thing. I think it was just a text message between us. So it's like, hey, and that was about it. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not a super surprise. We'd been talking about this for like the last couple of weeks in terms of what we wanted to do for the 1-year thing. So we knew it was coming. We have our own little milestone goal numbers in our mind that we look at periodically, that we kind of have our own mini celebrations when we hit certain things. So we're pretty happy with where we're at right now and continuing to grow.
Me and Dave are pretty humble, so the celebrations are like, hey, we hit that number, and he's like, cool. Yeah. Nice.
And then Robert Cartwright in the Facebook group, he goes, 2 for this week, gaming related first. Did you guys ever experience PlayStation Home, and do you think it would be successful if it released on PS5? I think I spent about 7 minutes in PlayStation Home.
I was really fascinated with PlayStation Home when it first came out. I thought it was a really cool idea. It was just hampered by all the technical issues that came with like trying to run an online service like that with a huge lobby. And it didn't deliver on some of its promises. Like, it was supposed to be a cool place to like start a in-game lobby, but in reality, loading up PlayStation Home then to load up another game just wouldn't work. on the PS3. I wouldn't mind if they did PlayStation Home with PS5, because all the issues that I had with PlayStation Home were the horrible loading screens, downloading different rooms, and then the idea that, I remember the PlayStation Home, they had you can think of your Warhawk strategy in the Warhawk room in PlayStation Home, and then you're supposed to be able to load in a game, and in reality you would go in that room and then you would pick the map, and then you would spend to closing Home to open Warhawk, and that was additional time that the SSD would actually be able to fix.
SSD
and faster internet.
Party chats exist. You don't have to be in the same game to talk to somebody now. Those all things that didn't exist when Home existed.
You could be a Subway sandwich in Home, PlayStation Home.
Well, ironically enough, his next question. Non-gaming question. What are you guys into anything else apart from gaming, i.e. Legos, comics, etc.? Subway doesn't count.
For me, I mean, I love movies and TV shows. I actually realized this year's been a bad year for movies. I usually would watch a new movie every week, but this year there isn't a ton of new movies coming out. And there's not a lot of new TV shows coming out, especially this fall. So I have to get back into watching new movies and new TV shows. I used to be into comic books, but that shit's expensive, and I refuse to bootleg things just because I want creators to get paid. So comic books were something I was really into. But yeah, it's just movies, TV shows, and games. I've never been into Lego because that's just too expensive, and I just don't have room for that. I hate clutter, and I would just be building clutter at that point. So yeah, just basic stuff for me. You, Dave? You have sports.
Yeah, I play softball during the summer a lot. Not this year. Somebody put something on Facebook the other day, and I realized I have not hit a ball, swung a bat and hit a ball in 2020. At all. I haven't even everything got canceled. But yeah, I did. Typically during the summer, I had play in about 2, sometimes 3 leagues with softball. So I would say that's probably the biggest outside of video gaming hobby that I have is sports. So. All right, Spotlight. I guess right now, I guess the obvious one would be our Teespring site. If you want to purchase some shirts for us, like I said, we try to keep the cost down as best as we could. Disclosure, we do. It is another way to support DDG. We make money off the shirts, just to make everybody aware. We do make money off the shirts. So that is something that helps. That again, it's just another way of support. It's another tangible thing. If you want to buy a shirt, buy a hoodie, buy a performance hoodie, you can do that. And then please, if you do buy one, send us a picture, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, so we can see what it looks like. I think a couple people in stream today said that the 1 or 2 that they ordered are supposed to be here right around the 12th or the 14th. So it seems like the shipping turnaround time was great. Size wise, unfortunately, I think the biggest we go up to is 4X. I know somebody had mentioned bigger. I didn't realize that Darren is 6'9". So sorry, that's I will possibly look into alternatives if there's a easy way for us to get our logo on something else that might be something we could do on a different site. I have to see if that's even a possibility. But I don't know if she turned on the other stuff. There is some other things that we can do on Teesprings as well. Teesprings will do stickers and stuff for us. So if it's something that you guys are interested in or you think you would want, please let us know. If you see something that somebody else is selling on Teesprings, we can look into see if it's a possibility. We can always try a sample and see what it's like as well too. So, do you have any spotlights or?
Extra Life is this weekend. We're not doing anything personally, but I'm gonna try and tweet out some of our friends that are doing Extra Life. So if you want to throw them some donations, just check our Twitter account and maybe I'll. Actually, if you're in a Facebook group and you're doing Extra Life, drop your Extra Life link in our Facebook group. Community's pretty strong there, so. If you need people to watch your stream or potentially donate, definitely use our Facebook group to drop your Extra Live stream in there.
We can do some hosting too on our Twitch channel, like so to get some more eyes on there. So let us know, please. I know like Tim Paulingen's doing it. He's a friend of mine.
Chris Pendwell from Active Quest is doing it as well.
Tim's a band of gamers. There's a whole band of gamers group that's doing it as well. So there are definitely some people. Kind of Funny's doing it. IGN's doing it. Like but again, like we mentioned a couple weeks ago, like they're gonna get their donations. Like let's find somebody look for somebody that's maybe supporting your local hospital and throw them a donation, even if it's $10. Like you could be the only person that donates to them. So please like help them out. But we'll definitely do some pushing and showing some show some love to some of the people that we know that are doing Extra Life. And if you are doing Extra Life and you want, I am home on Saturday. If it's a game that you guys want to play, or like a block of time that you want to set aside and you would love, I would love to play a game or two with you guys. That would be so much fun. To help your, and again, like just the thing that you're doing is great. So, socials. You can follow the main account at Digital Days Pod. You can follow Michael at the First MJC. You can follow myself at Good Dave Hunt. Facebook group, Patreon, all those things are in the show notes. The Patreon support has been great over the last couple of months. $1 tip jar, $3 private Discord access, $5 24-hour early access to the podcast, and $7 gets you a bonus episode. The previous October one is out, obviously, since we're in November now, and we did Halloween traditions. This November, I think we're going to do a combination of like Thanksgiving, Black Friday shopping, retail stuff, Thanksgiving traditions, Black Friday traditions, things like that. And then December will be just December, holiday traditions as well. So if those are anything that interest you, please, feel free to support us on Patreon. There's also a direct PayPal link in the show notes as well if you want to show support. Multiple different ways you can show support, but as always, listening and sharing the show is the number one way to help us grow. As we are getting over a year old, hopefully some more people are checking us out and seeing that we're definitely in this for the long haul. And we hope that everyone, we're going to talk to you guys roughly before you have next gen consoles. So it'll be right around next gen console week. So episode 54 will be the week we'll record it like on Sunday or Monday before the consoles drop, and then it'll be out when the consoles are out. So
and if we get excited, maybe we'll record an extra thing of first 24 hours with new consoles or some shit. So I hope everyone has an awesome week and that you guys keep moving forward. And again, please, if you're watching, go vote tomorrow. And I hope you did vote if you are listening to this on Thursday. And I hope like half the country's not on fire. So. Yeah, that'd be good. Don't be a dick.